What if a synthesizer wasn't just a tool, but a living, complex companion? In a music world obsessed with presets, recall, and predictability, what if your instrument asked for your attention, your touch, your patience, and gave you something different every time? That's the world of SOMA Laboratory. They don't build machines that obey you, they build systems to connect with you. The founding of SOMA Laboratory was kind of an accidental beginning. Vlad Kreimer, a musician and radio engineer from Russia, built the Lyra 8 for himself, a personal exploration into an instrument that could breathe whole and meditate. With one video and a homemade prototype, a personal creative tool became the foundation of a brand that defined what Kreimer calls romantic engineering, instruments designed for balance over control, deep nature over imitation. Where most synth brands chase simplicity, media integration, or the emulation of other synths, SOMA asks what stirs the human soul.
Synthesizer is a very unique situation where we create a machine that has just one purpose: trigger our feelings. So we measure this machine by a human, not by an oscilloscope or any measurement gear, but what feelings can it trigger and how it deep, how it bright. That is why I call it romantic engineering. And also romantic means something like have a shade of dreaming, a shade of inspiration.
It's different, it's pure. For some it's chaos and for some it's complexity. They embrace unpredictability. They invite mistakes. They collapse the line between musicians and engineer. In SOMA's world, the instrument isn't a tool, it's a partner with its own moods and quirks. Their instruments are not made to replicate. They are made for the communication between artist and instrument.
So in my approach, it's often exactly conversation. It is very interesting workflow. So it, especially on stage, on one hand, it makes you a bit unsafe because you need to establish interaction, to establish mutual understanding with the machine. You need to find, like usual people say, a sweet spots. When some interesting sounds starts arising, and it is like exploration. In my opinion, it creates very interesting in energy of performance, and it gives to the musician new ideas. It is like a surprise. It's like dialogue.
Lyra 8, the bigger sibling of the 4-voice Lyra 4, is their manifesto in hardware. No keys, no presets, just 8 voices connected through touch plates. Your skin becomes part of the circuit. Instead of playing notes, you create drones, swells, and complex harmonics. Its voices are organically cross-modulated, creating evolving, unpredictable textures. It doesn't ask, what sound do you want? It asks, what will we discover together? With hyper LFOs, FM modulation, overdrive, and a built-in delay, the Lyra 8 is designed for pure performance and intuition. Musicians often describe it as a creature that connects machine and emotion in one body. Lyra 8, also known as Organismic synthesizer, which means that it uses simple principles that lie in the base of living organisms.
It is exactly from my exploration of living organisms. So, for example, we have a very small fly. So it has very, very narrow, very small neural system, 100 of neurons, with very limited amount of clocks that can generate any behavior. But such a simple system can generate and create very complex behavior that is enough for the whole life of this tiny fly. So it is navigation, it is orientation in the space. It is finding partners and replication. It is finding food. It is avoiding of danger. And when I was trying to get an answer, how the nature can create such a complex behavior using such a simple blocks, I got an answer that the idea is that this 100 neurons is not a chain like one by one, but it is a very complex dynamic system where almost each neuron connected with all other neurons, and it have a lot of feedback loops, positive, negatives, together as a very complex dynamic system. And then I started to apply this approach to musical machines, to synthesizers, and I started to make experiments creating such systems that affect each other constantly. So that is why I call it organismic synthesizer.
If the Lyra 8 was SOMA's heart, the Pulsar 23 became its nervous system, chaotic, impulsive, and alive. A semi-modular drum machine that defies the step sequencer model. Instead of a fixed sequencer, the pulsar works in loops and cycles you patch in real time using alligator clips, jumper wires, or even your own hands. Your skin can close a circuit and trigger a sound. It has 4 main drum voices: bass, snare, bass drum, and percussion. But each one is so heavily sculptable that you can morph them far beyond their own labels. And then there are the extras: envelope generators, LFOs, chaos modulators, distortion, and a looper section. The design pushes you away from the grid. There's no 16-step prison here. Instead, you play with timing, feedback, and happy accidents. Some call it sweet spot. The result? Beats that breathe, rhythms born from improvisation rather than templates. Musicians celebrated it as finally something truly new. It's refreshingly raw and rough, but at the same time organic. SOMA goes even further and takes the approach to the voice as an instrument. With the pipe, SOMA turned the human voice into an electronic playground, bending breaths into textures and drones no other synth can touch. The pipe is a synthesizer you sing into. A custom microphone, touch controls, and internal DSPs transform your voice or breathe into effects, textures, and tones. It's not about sounding like something else, it's about amplifying what's uniquely yours. In fact, conventional instruments and voice influence Vlad's work due to the complexity of touch and sensitivity.
And why it is important? Because this sensitivity makes possible to translate your deep feelings, your deep inner state, that you translate unconsciously through these tiniest movements of your body. And if a machine, an instrument, sensitive to these tiniest movements, then it starts to be also sensitive and start to translate these deep feelings that, in my opinion, one of the biggest treasures of music.
Terra blends digital microtonality with a wooden sculptural interface. It feels like something dug out from an ancient forest, yet it sings with future tones. Both reject the idea that sound should start from a keyboard. They start with you, your body, your gestures, your curiosity. 12 hexagonal touch zones replace keys, paired with motion and pressure sensitivity. Other synth makers innovate within a framework: faster CPUs, cleaner oscillators, more presets. SOMA throws the framework away. They design for unpredictability because surprise is where the art happens. SOMA is not just a counterpoint to the synth industry, it's a philosophy. While most brands follow trends or replicate the past, SOMA designs instruments with their own soul. Tools that demand curiosity and reward unpredictability, and innovative musicians around the world are drawn to their character and challenge. Playing a lyra or pulsar is an act of trust. You can't fully control them, and that's perhaps the point. SOMA Laboratory is an invitation to stay unconventional, to think differently, discover differently.